64 The teachings of the Lord of the Second Coming. 2.2.3.2.2 The foundation of substance centered on Joshua. When at Kadesh-barnea Moses struck the rock twice. The dispensation to start the journey to Canaan, which was to have been based on the rock, was not brought to pass. Although Satan invaded externally, nevertheless the foundation, which Moses had laid internally when he had brought forth water from the rock at Rephidim, remained intact, and he could bring forth water from the rock at Kadesh-barnea for the people to drink. This set the pattern for what would follow. The external Israelites born in Egypt, who became faithless in the wilderness, all perished except for Joshua and Caleb, who had shown firm faith during the 40-day mission to spy out the land. 138 The internal Israelites, the younger generation, who were born and raised in the wilderness, when the people drank water from the rock and were upholding the tabernacle, entered the land of Canaan under the leadership of Joshua. God instructed Moses to commission Joshua in his stead. Take Joshua the son of Nun, a man in whom is the Spirit, and lay your hand upon him. Cause him to stand before Eleazar, the priest and all the congregation, and you shall commission him in their sight. You shall invest him with some of your authority, that all the congregation of the people of Israel may obey. Num. 2718-20. When the people were beset with fear upon hearing the reports of the spies, only Joshua and Caleb remained firm in their faith upon the foundation of faith Moses had laid through the tabernacle. With absolute faith and loyalty, they thus established the foundation for the tabernacle, and would honor it to the end. Although Moses's faith faltered later on, the tablets of stone, the ark and the tabernacle, all remained intact upon the foundation for the tabernacle which Joshua laid. Therefore, God worked the dispensation to start the course anew, this time based on the water from the rock, by elevating Joshua to Moses's place, and having the internal Israelites obey him, and stand with him upon the foundation for the tabernacle. On this basis, they were to enter the land of Canaan, where they were to fulfill the national indemnity condition, to remove the fallen nature. In this way, God intended to establish the foundation of substance centered on Joshua in the third national course. 139. When Moses had satisfactorily accomplished the period of 40 years in the wilderness of Midian, God appeared before him and commanded him to guide the Israelites to the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey. 140. Likewise, when Joshua accomplished with faith and devotion the period of 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, God personally called him to serve in the position of Moses, commanding, Moses my servant is dead now, therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land which I am giving to them, to the people of Israel. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. Be strong and of good courage, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Josh. 12, 5-6. Upon receiving this direction from God, Joshua summoned the officers of the people and conveyed God's instructions to them. 141. They replied, all that you have commanded us, we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Whoever rebels against your commandment and disobeys your words, whatever you command him, shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage. Josh. 116-18. They pledged with their lives to follow Joshua in succeeding Moses's mission to restore Canaan. Joshua prefigured Christ at the second advent, who will come to complete the mission which Jesus left unfinished. Just as Joshua's course was to restore through indemnity Moses's course, the course of Christ at the second advent must restore through indemnity, both physically and spiritually. Jesus' course of spiritual restoration. In the second national course, Moses sent 12 spies to Canaan. 142. Upon the foundation of heart laid by the 2 spies, who had faithfully completed their mission, Joshua sent 2 men to spy out the fortified city of Jericho. 143. When they returned from Jericho, the 2 spies made a faithful report. Truly, the Lord has given all the land into our hands, and moreover, all the inhabitants of the land are faint-hearted because of us. 144. The younger generation of Israelites raised in the wilderness all believed the spies' words, and this faith indemnified the sins of their parents, who had not properly completed the previous 40-day mission to spy out the land. Having pledged with their lives to obey Joshua, who stood upon the foundation for the tabernacle, the internal Israelites could stand with him on that foundation, by restoring the dispensation to start based on the water from the rock. They assumed the same position as their parents had when, under Moses' leadership, they had participated in the dispensation to start at the Exodus from Egypt, when God provided the 3 signs and 10 plagues, just as the Israelites under Moses' leadership had passed through a 3-day course before they crossed the Red Sea. The Israelites under Joshua's leadership passed through a 3-day course before they crossed the Jordan River, 145 in the second national course. After the 3-day course was completed, the pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire led the Israelites to the Red Sea. Similarly, after the Israelites under Joshua's leadership completed the 3-day course, the Ark of the Covenant led them to the Jordan River, 146 the tablets lying at the center of the ark, and the pillars of cloud and fire. Both symbolized Jesus and his would-be bride. Moses used his staff to guide the way and split the Red Sea in 2. Likewise, Joshua placed the Ark of the Covenant in front of the troops to guide their way. When the priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant entered the Jordan River, its waters parted, opening the way for the people following the Ark to walk on the riverbed. 147 Moses' staff symbolized Jesus. Similarly, the Ark containing the tablets of stone, manna, and Aaron's staff symbolized Jesus and his would-be bride. Therefore, the parting of the Jordan River before the Ark, which allowed the Israelites to enter the land of Canaan safely, foreshadowed what would happen in the presence of Jesus and his bride. Sinful humanity, symbolized by water, 148 would be divided between the righteous and the wicked and face the judgment. All faithful believers would then complete the restoration of Canaan worldwide. Upon reaching the Jordan River, God commanded Joshua, saying, "Take 12 men from the people, from each tribe, a man, and command them, take 12 stones from here out of the midst of the Jordan, from the very place where the priest's feet stood, and carry them over with you, and lay them down in the place where you lodge tonight." Josh 42-3. And thus the people did. The people came up out of the Jordan on the 10th day of the first month, and they encamped in Gilgal, on the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones, which they took out of the Jordan, Joshua set up in Gilgal. Josh 419-20. What did this foreshadow? As was discussed earlier, the stone symbolized Jesus. Accordingly, when the 12 leaders representing the 12 tribes each carried a stone from the middle of the Jordan River, after its waters had been divided by the ark, it foreshadowed what the 12 disciples of Jesus, representing the 12 tribes, should do at his coming, uphold him at the very place where his word judges this sinful world and divides it into good and evil. After they took the 12 stones and set them up in the camp at Gilgal in the land of Canaan, Joshua said, "So that all the peoples of the earth may know that the hand of the Lord is mighty, that you may fear the Lord your God forever." 149 This foreshadowed that the 12 disciples of Jesus should become one in heart. Only then could they complete the restoration of Canaan worldwide, that all the people of the world might praise the power of God eternally. Just as Jacob built a stone altar wherever he went, the representatives of the 12 tribes, descendants of the 12 sons of Jacob, gathered together the 12 stones and built an altar in praise of God. They were eventually to construct the temple. This foreshadowed that the 12 disciples of Jesus should join together and honor Jesus as the temple. For this reason, when his disciples were not uniting, Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." 150 The 12 disciples in fact failed to unite with each other, and one of them, Judas Iscariot, even sold Jesus to his foes. Only after Jesus suffered crucifixion and resurrected after 3 days was he able to bring together his scattered disciples. The disciples then honored the resurrected Jesus as the spiritual temple. Only at his second coming will his followers be able to serve him as the incarnate temple. When the Israelites left Egypt and set out for the land of Canaan, they observed the feast of Passover on the 14th day of the first month. 151 Likewise, the Israelites under Joshua's leadership, who encamped at Gilgal, observed the feast of Passover on the 14th day of the first month of that year. Afterward, they set out for the city of Jericho. When they began to live on the produce of the land, God stopped giving the manna, which he had been providing for 40 years. From that time forth, they were to make a living with their own sweat. Furthermore, until they had overthrown every last satanic city, they had to strive to the utmost to fulfill their responsibility. As they approached Jericho, in accordance with God's command, the Israelites put 40,000 soldiers at the forefront, while 7 priests blew 7 trumpets as they marched behind the soldiers. Following behind them was the ark of Th.